Hello, welcome to The Truth of the Matter Is with Mary and Pam. We are so excited that you are here to join us today on our podcast. We want to just dive into the issues because there's just so much going on in the world today, such as these tariffs that Donald Trump has just put in. What do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely awful, as does many of the people, except those people in the Donald Trump part of it. I think that this is awful, and really think it's going to push us into a recession. Absolutely, because right now the tariffs is pushing the prices up on goods that we receive in this country, and Canada and UE, all those people are saying that they're raising their
right
on the United States. And they were talking about this morning. They were talking about radio parts, computer parts, and all those things that the guy was saying that the factories, they don't even have them in the factory, that they're being made in the other countries, and that to be able to work with it, that a factory would have to be built to make these things, and that would be
They were talking about the car industry. And they were saying the parts that were needed for the car industry. So individuals are running out trying to purchase cars that are already here because the cars that are going to be coming in because of the parts, the tariff. So that means the prices are going to go way up. And then those that have their 401ks, I know I've got a very good friend, and my heart just kind of hurts for him because he was going to retire, and then he decided to wait another year. And his 401k, of course, is what he's going to live on. And so it bottomed out today. And so I'm looking at, that's just one person that I know, the effect that it's going to have across the country with individuals and their 401ks. They talked about individuals on the high end that had like $267,000 in their 401k because of the tariffs and what they put into place, and because of how it is dropped, that money now would be the equivalent of $230,000. And so, that was on the high end. Individuals that had it that was in the 100,000 probably have dropped down. And this is money that they have set aside to live on at a time when they're unable to work, older to work. So I'm very concerned with these tariffs and the country. And as we have talked about, a war, Donald Trump and the war, what he is trying to start.
And that's on the financial side. And then when I get over to the humanistic side, is the things that they are doing with the immigrants or citizens even of the United States, or just horrible. And some things that the Supreme Court just dealt us just really terrible hand when he granted so much immunity to the office of the president, which does not allow us to really do anything to him when he makes all of these errors, like sending this man off to El Salvador, to one of the worst prisons in the country, and he was a legal immigrant. They mistakenly sent him there, and then say there's nothing that they can do.
Right.
Get on your private plane, go get him.
This individual has a wife and had a baby on the way, and so their life has been disrupted. And yes, forever. Because of what the Supreme Court has done, there is no repercussions or anything that we can do to Donald Trump, because they have granted him immunity. And so he takes that as saying that he's king. And so he feels like he can do what he wants to do. He's looking for ways that he doesn't have to go through Congress and the Senate, that he can just do this on his own. And he's doing that on his own, of course, with Elon Musk as his sidekick. And so is he Elon Musk's sidekick?
Elected to nothing.
Elected to nothing. And Doge, this so-called group that he has put together, was nothing but a game.
Absolutely.
It was just a gang that they have put together, formed to cause havoc and confusion within our systems, as far as shutting down things such as Social Security,
Right.
to the point that letting so many people go that you can call the office and nobody's there. But it is a gang that is terrorized.
There's something worse than that
people.
with Social Security. They are doing some things in Social Security. They said, they talked about the fact that Trump said, that they weren't going to touch Social Security, but they've already touched Social Security. And and I'm telling this because I want people to know that they have already touched Social Security, and I believe that the intent is to break Social Security so that it will have no money to pay out to. I mean, this is for real, and I absolutely know because I received a letter, and as did other people, about the Social Security, the changes in Social Security. That means that they are touching Social Security, even though they're saying that they're not and that they're going to. And we as citizens, I am having a terrible time understanding our citizenry that sit here and allow, even though Donald Trump, even though the court has given him immunity, it is the citizens of the United States that can stop this mess that is going on. And we have got to stop this mess. That's why we're having a rally on Saturday, is to say that we, the people, have to stand up and fight for our democracy, or we won't have one.
Right. And I think that a prime example of the fight was Cory Booker.
Oh, beautiful.
And
Cory
standing there breaking a record, and aside from breaking the record, the fact that he was even able to stand there over 24 hours and beat a record of an individual. The last record was done by an individual that did not want us to have any civil rights. And so he was able to break that record, throw it out the window, and able to stand there and fight for our democracy in a way that he knew how. And it was very impressive. He talked about the issues. He talked about things that we could do when it comes to those issues. He brought things and laid it on the table, and he did this, and he you could see the strain on his body.
Yeah.
You could see all that he was going through, but he fought through all that because he wanted to make a difference as one man. And that's what we have to do. We have to stand up one to the other so that we can make a difference in just the impact that will have.
And then we have to think about that Chuck Schumer is the head of the Senate, but he came there, and they can ask that you don't have to yield the floor. They can ask questions, and he came there. They came there, the Democratic Party, to help him out, because there would be periods of time when they would ask long questions to be able to give him the win that he needed to rejuvenate his body so that he can come back. So Chuck Schumer stayed there with him and asked those long questions to give him a chance to take a breath.
Right.
And I think that that's the kind of, when I think about what they did with him, I think about Moses and Joshua when he was too weak to hold up his hands, that Joshua was there to hold his hand up for him, because when he would hold his hand up, then Israel would win the war. And so when it was down, they would be losing. And Joshua was there to hold his hand up. And that's what I thought about when Chuck Schumer, who certainly knows the impact of the fact that he was going to be able to break that record, what would happen. And I said, personally, that I've been looking for a Martin Luther King. Now, there's not going to be a person with the name of Martin Luther King, but I'm talking about with his stamina, with his leadership, with his ability to bring us together. And I've been saying, I'm looking for a Martin Luther King. Didn't get a Martin Luther King, but we sure got a Cory Booker. and he stood there and fought for us and brought those issues to the attention. The fact that he was there made folks watch his. He was able to stand for that, and that he was able to bring those issues.
And it wasn't just Democrats that watched; there were Republicans that watched. They talked about the magnitude that it had across the country, because some people watched simply because they wanted to see if he could break the record. Some people watched because of what he had to say. Some people watched just in support, as others watched hoping that he didn't. But the fact of the matter is that they watched. And so there was a large turnout, and people learned some things, and they learned the things how these issues will affect them personally. And so that gives you the fire under your feet to be able to say, I'm going to have to get out there and I'm going to have to do my part. And that's what he was trying to do, was to let us know that we all have a part to play. And that we need to do our part, and we can make a difference if we do. And so it was rejuvenating, and it uplifted me, and I was so proud of the work that he did, and the fact that he was able to, he shattered the record. He not only broke it, he shattered the record. And a lot of people will say, well, he was just talking, but it was what he did and what he said. A combination.
25 hours he did not
no bathroom break, no food,
no water, no food,
nothing.
Just there,
putting the issues out,
and never failing, never failing.
Right.
He just did it, and I just love this. This is one of my favorite sayings: is lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Right.
And he showed that leadership ability, and what he did was inspire other people to say, we've got to do something. We can't just sit here and say, wait until this happens, let's see what we can do about it. What we can do about it. And the citizens, and he said, and we've said, the people that are going to change this mess that had been brought to us and laid at our feet, it's going to be the citizens. Who can tell us? It cannot be the Supreme Court. We saw that. Cannot be the presidency. Cannot be just the Senate and the representatives. It's going to take the citizens of obviously the Donald Trump has got the House of Representatives, the Senate wrapped up. And when I say wrapped up, mean that he's got the leadership right now. We, the citizens, can say we aren't going to take this no more.
Well, we have to realize too that what Donald Trump is doing is he is causing. He's being very manipulative by causing these issues, such as the tariff and things. That we get so locked into certain things that we're not watching what's going on in the back end.
That's it.
And what's going on in the back end is he's making money. With these tariffs, his son, Eric, said that the people that deal with the tariffs early on and kind of submit to it, they'll be better off than the ones that are at the end, because the ones at the end are probably going to really get shortchanged. So his idea of dealing with it is one individual paid Donald Trump over $25 million. And then that tariff was reduced. $25 million. So for him personally. So what he's doing is making money. It's all about filling his pocket, filling Elon. And that's the thing about it. That's why he's there, because of the war. He has all those contracts.
How much money he's giving Donald Trump.
Well, we don't, but he has all those contracts, those military contracts, because of his company. Every time the military builds something, then he gets paid. And if there's a war where it's continuous, it's just filling his pockets. And so he's looking for that because that is making him richer. And that's the same thing that's going on with Donald Trump.
How much money can you want?
And it's money and it's the power. And so we have got to be watching what's going on the back
end. And in his cabinet, this is the first time that we have had all of these billionaires.
A rich cabinet.
In the cabinet.
A rich cabinet.
And who have no idea of what the middle class and lower class people are going through and don't care.
Well, when they say, like with these tariffs, we everything goes up. I remember stopping at a Denny's and you have to pay 50 cents extra per egg. Mm-hmm. That was just one little thing. Mm-hmm. But things like Temu and Sheen, mm-hmm. that people just love to order from. He decided he was going to slap big tariffs on mm-hmm. that because he knows that the people that, as of today, because he knows people that are utilizing these places are people that are not billionaires, not rich, right. And so that he wanted to make sure that it touched everyone. So this impact that we're going to see is, first off, you've got individuals losing their jobs, and so you're going to have family members that are going to have to come and try to help out in respect to that. Then they're not going to be able to shop and buy like they used to, and then they're going to hike up the prices for those that can. So that's going to cut into the funds, and then the individuals on that did the factories. They were saying, well, the thing about it is that for an individual to take their factory and move it over to the United States, they're not sure if Donald Trump is going to be there or not, and if they move it to the country and then he's not, what effect is that going to have? And then if he is, what effect is that going to have? Mm-hmm. So these individuals are saying it's almost better for us to stay put mm-hmm. where we are and not so all these so-called jobs that he says is going to be there isn't going to be there.
And he's trying to steal the Canadian country to make it 51 states in the United States, and yes. they are fighting him. And they say they're going to fight him. The EU says that they're going to. I'm talking about fighting him.
Right. Well, Greenland said we are not. It's going to be a war. You're not going to just come over here and decide. Take our country. Can you imagine? The arrogancy.
Take our land.
Of us to
and
stop.
We have been people.
Well, not us, with Donald Trump to say.
We are a people that have tried to, the citizens of the United States, have tried to make peace.
Yes.
With people. Right. And we have tried to help people and not be takers.
We're alone now.
And we are alone now.
We are alone.
And so we had the borders protected by Canada.
Yes.
We had the border protected by Mexico mm-hmm. on that end. We no longer have that.
We were free to travel.
Yeah,
and do all. We don't have that freedom. That's not safe.
It's not
to do those kind of things. To go and travel like we used to. We used to just, you could cross over into Canada,
right?
Like it was nothing, and everything, and Mexico and all that. And now we need to be safe. We have to stay home
stay in the United States
because he has ostracized us from all these other countries. And we've become the enemy instead of the ally. And that's sad because this has been done in less than a couple of months. Mm-hmm, and they have said that normally it would take 2 years so for a democracy to fall. And they're looking for ours to be gone in less than 6 months.
That's right.
And that's unless we do something. And that's because he has come in and he knows that he's like, catch him off guard. Throw this out, and then as you're working on that, throw that out, and as you work, and the whole time, all he's doing is filling his pocket,
and I'll bring you back to richer. I'll bring you back to why we're having the rally on Saturday. We've got a number of citizens speaking out here in Columbia, and we hope that this will cause a fire in Jefferson City. We hope that it'll cause a fire, and I know that they are having a rally in St. Louis. And in fact, they're having a rally all over the country. But I hope that what we're doing in Columbia will have the impact that we hope it will have as our speakers come to us and talk about the issues and how it will impact us religiously, educationally, and for as job DEI and all of those issues that we will be bringing information to you about on Saturday so that you can get out and you can get involved with Women League of Voters because they are part of our coalition. That you can go to Peace Work. They are part of our coalition. You can go to the NAACP and, of course, all of the churches. And we just touching on a few, AKA, and all of those individuals are being involved in this rally that we are having on Saturday. And so that's why we are hopeful that you will come out on Saturday and to listen to what we've got to say and how you can get involved in this local issue here. Because we're not having a rally just to have a rally. We're having a rally to mobilize our people. And I am determined to try to help lead this Columbia community to be a part of this overall push to save our democracy. That is what we have to do this. Each city, each NAACP unit, each church, we have got work to do, and it is up to us to make it happen. And and I share with you again that I served for 48 years as the president of this NAACP. Pamela is now the new president. I'm going to fight just as hard for her to have all of the clout that I would have had all of those years, because it's the end of it. It's the organization that is important. And so we have the power, we have the mandate to help lead this city to a better tomorrow, to a better democracy. And so we're going to be making that push. And we are so appreciative of all of these groups that have decided to join in with us to help make Saturday a success. Saturday, April the 5th, from 10 to 2, we'll be at the courthouse. We want you there on that lawn. And if it rains, we're going to be at St. Luke's Church. We're not canceling it. We're going to be at St. Luke's Church, and we will pile us up in there full, And so we are looking very forward to you being there and you being a part of the process, because this is not our first rodeo, and it's not going to be our last, okay? We're going to be fighting in Columbia. If they are not fighting anywhere, everybody can only work hard in their particular area and we help the state and everybody else that we can. But our job, if we do what we need to do in each one of the states, we will be able to make the change that needs to be made to say, and our challenge is to motivate people to vote, to make the changes that we need to make. Because, I don't care what you say. We have to look at the House of Representatives and the Senate and look at those people who are fighting for the rights of all of the people in the United States. And that's what we are. That's why we're having this podcast. That's why we are appealing to you, is that we have got to make the change that we've got to make, and we've got to be the people to get out there and make it happen.
And one of the things is that nationally, they're having the Hands Off rally.
Mm-hmm.
When we planned this event was prior to us having any knowledge of the Hands Off rally, and so it just blended right in with what was going on, because we're having that same message, dealing with all of the same issues. And so we just look forward to you all coming out, helping us to let Donald Trump and anyone else that's a part of Trump land know that we the people aren't going to just sit around and let you destroy our democracy.
No.
That we're going to take a stand and do what we can. Of course, we're trying to be as nonviolent as we can. So we're not looking for violence, but we're looking to make change, and we're looking to make a difference.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to do that by using our voices to let people know what the issues are. We know that we used to say, well, we will let you know how it's going to affect you, but you already know how it's going to affect you, because it's affecting you right now, every day. So we are going to talk about
tomorrow.
Right. So we're going to talk about what you can do to help stand up and make a difference. And so we're just hoping that when you leave from the rally, that you're fired up and ready to go and ready to make change happen by working and letting people know that if you stand together, that you can make a difference.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we are trying to do. And so we're trying to make an impact.
And really, our veterans, my heart breaks for our veterans. With them making clothes, laying off people, nurses. I'm a federal employee. I'm a nurse, retired nurse. Worked at the Veterans Hospital, and know how much those our veterans suffered in the Vietnam War and World War I, and a lot of our World War I veterans are gone on. But in the Vietnam War and all of the wars, even now, they are still there protecting us, protecting our rights, and they are taking the veterans' rights away from them. They are cutting employees, the people that work in these areas in Washington, D.C., in those offices that were there to answer questions for us, and all of the benefits and all of those things that people that the veterans have to apply for. And now all of those people are being let go.
Well, that's strategy. That's his strategy to where, if you call the Social Security office, you get no one, you get no answers. So while he's doing the dirt that he's doing, you don't have anybody that can answer, that can speak to you on that, right, at all. He does things like, even like with Gaza, he wanted to, instead of helping the people in Gaza, he draws up a resort. A Trump resort, that he wants to take that country over and do that area and make it a Trump resort. So he wanted to, on the demise of those individuals, he was like, just move them out of the way, and then I'm going to build this beautiful area for them. And then he's not going to let them back in there.
Absolutely.
He's going to put it and he's going to, use it as a resort to make money. And so we have got an individual that is lower than low, that just has no
and the ignorance of the people that kisses his ring and bow down to him.
Right.
That's what he's looking for. And if you're not doing that, he's trying to find a way
to get rid of you. Just think of the Supreme Court judges, and then when they didn't vote his way, everybody they had to go. It was like, only the reason they're still there is because of the position is a forever position.
Right.
But if it was a position that he could, but then of course they were saying, well, we've got to change some laws so that either they can go or they can be reprimanded, because he cannot have somebody that is in a position that he can't holler out, "You're fired," to, which is part of his DNA.
And they keep forgetting that we have 3 branches of government.
Right.
We don't have kingship here.
Right.
And we have 3 branches of government. And the presidency, the
House and Senate.
Those are the 3 branches of government, and
it's supposed to be checks and balances.
Checks and balances.
But he's using his checks and balances as his pen. He's using his pen to write all these executive orders.
Some of them are illegal.
And most of them are illegal.
Because some of the things that he is writing executive orders for are constitutional things.
Right.
That has to be voted on by the
the thing is, if it's not contested though, then it slips through the cracks.
Exactly. And so what he has, he now has the House of Representatives, the majority of the House of Representatives who can
scared to be men, and women, but they're scared.
How did they go home at night to their? Well, I can imagine looking at my husband when he was living, bowing down to somebody like Donald Trump, and come home to his wife and kids and expect us to respect him.
Like Cruz and Rubio and them.
Oh,
and
for real.
He called their wives out of their names.
Yeah.
He called them animals.
Yeah,
and things.
ugly.
Talked about them bad.
And then his wife.
And
he was talking about, you guys insult Heidi like that.
Oh,
and then he came back
and kissed his ring. And it was like, have you no pride?
No pride and no shame.
None at
all. Your children are sitting there looking at you, these individuals that are bowing down to him. And they can go back and play like Rubio and people like that who talked about Donald Trump never.
Right.
And then soon as he gets in office,
they bow down to him
and kiss his ring.
And they're doing it for status. They're doing that because they're scared. They're doing that just to uplift themselves.
They don't want their people to vote them out.
Right.
But
we talked to an individual that when we were at the Capitol here that agreed with DEI. And he was a Republican. He agreed with DEI. He whispered it to us and looked around to make sure. And he said, my colleagues don't think like me. But some of the best people that I've ever worked with were on that job because of DEI. And he said, and so I believe in DEI. But he said it very low and was scared that his colleagues would hear him. And we could tell that was something that he would not vote for because or with the right way because he was worried about what everybody else thought.
But also when you talked to him, you knew that his heart was wanting to do
the right thing,
but he was afraid.
Fear
of what would happen.
Fear because of the gang.
Absolutely.
Because of the gang. And they're talking about getting rid of gangs, and we've got a gang in the White House.
Absolutely.
And so, but the difference in the gangs that are out on the street, they don't have all that money. You're talking about a gang with a lot of money.
And the thing that really does bother me, I watch the news, and when I watch with this crazy Musk running out on the floor with a cheese on his head and with a chainsaw and with his shirt up showing his belly and his back and all of this. And then have the nerve to talk about Zelensky, who from Ukraine
was in
his
war.
In his
because he's at war.
He's at war.
He's at war.
He's in and
always on call.
Always on call.
He's at war. And he made a big deal about it. And I don't even know how he could take any of that serious. You've got Musk with his child in the White House.
Yeah. And Donald Trump babysitting him one day. I don't know if you saw that. Musk wasn't there. Donald Trump was taking his child on his plane because Musk was someplace else. And so there was this big thing about presidents babysitting.
Right. Well, and when he was in the office, there was no respect. He had him on his shoulders.
No.
As he walked around, he had the little boy standing there. The little boy's telling the president to shut up. While his daddy's talking, and this is a learned behavior. That was not something that he just came up with.
Absolutely.
He's heard that related to the president. And so I tell people all the time that, their president, Trump, has a secret agenda and that we need to watch.
Because when he's talking about one thing,
he's doing another.
Else. And his thing is, and you can watch it, it's kind of funny, these ignorant, and I don't mind calling them these ignorant African-American folks that kissed his ring prior to him being elected, thinking that they were going to get elected to one of his cabinets. Look at what happened.
Yes.
Look at his cabinet.
His cabinet is
women and white men and white women,
and not a black person. He had a black preacher say prayer one day.
Chaplain.
Yeah, but that was it. And the rest of them that bowed down and went out and told their other black constituents that they needed. He didn't even put them in a cabinet position at all.
At all.
And so they feel silly?
No.
They should.
They should.
They should. They don't. They didn't have sense enough not to do what they did, so they don't have sense enough to know that they should feel silly.
They are silly.
Yes. You know, well, they look bad. They look bad, and they made us look bad.
They made us look
because
bad.
we have to be real about what's going on. The real problem here is when they were saying make America great again and take it back, they were referring to us.
Absolutely.
They did not like the fact that that they lost the war. They did not like the fact that
Obama became president. They couldn't take that. Never again.
How could this black man be in the White House?
Never again.
And be president. And that really got under Trump's skin. Before him. And so he couldn't at first stop talking about Obama because it bothered him so much. But that has been the backbone of what has been the drive for a lot of them to be in the Republican Party, is that they did not like the fact that there was a black president, and they do not like the fact they thought that we were getting gains, even though we always been having to work twice as hard because we were never on a level playing field. They were mad that we were able to take a little and do a lot. And that scared them. And then one of the things that they used to scare them was that the country is becoming a country of African Americans, that they are losing their whiteness in this country, and we're superior.
White people coming in.
Right.
Only that's why they were only allowing white people to. That's why he was saying white people could come in. From South Africa. From Musk's country. And but not African Americans. Mandela was there. And so here he is working to turn
apartheid.
And then he's here. Still, he's the apartheid here. That's what he's trying to do.
And so that has been the drive.
But we just need to tell him, ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
We're not gonna allow it to happen.
No, it's not. No, we'll be in the streets.
We'll be in the streets.
And we'll do what we have to do.
We don't want to be in the streets, but we'll do what we got to do.
We'll do what we got to do.
As Malcolm said, by any means necessary.
That's it. That's what we have to do. We have to take a stance.
That's right.
We have to take a stance because we're not going back. And I can't even say, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't care that you feel that way. We didn't ask to be brought to this country, those that were brought to this country. We didn't ask to be abused in this country for the abuse that we have. And yes, they want to hide that by taking books away and all that, saying that is going to affect how their young people look at themselves because of the brutality that we had to endure, as opposed to saying this will show our young people that we don't want to go back to that. They're worried about them feeling bad about themselves, but they're not worried about us and the abuse and the things that we went through.
What they're remembering is that the people that they call like the hippie group, is that they were able to study what had happened, because these were college students, what had happened with the civil rights movement. And they said, this is wrong. And so they went down as freedom riders to help make sure that they freed, that we lived up to our creed. Those young people, they want to take that out so that young people don't get to read about that. So if the young people don't get to read about how those people looked at the wrongness that had done as far as the civil rights was concerned, and decided that they were not going to sit back and allow that what their moms and dads and all those people had done to keep living on. And so they went down to fight it, because they were able to read about it in the libraries and in the schools. So they took everything. They are advocating to take everything out of the school. Some of the schools are refusing, and I'm proud
we
got
of
our own books.
Right. And we as African Americans have to teach we have to teach our kids, because we need them to be proud of who we are. We need them to know that we've taken a little and done a lot. We need them to know that half of the things that have been created, invented in this country has been done because of an African American, down from blood transfusion. And the individual that created that died because they wouldn't allow them to have a blood transfusion. From to the refrigerator, to the iron, to they talk about the light, but that filament in that light was done by an African American. We just did not get the credit for those things.
There's a lot of things
because
that we didn't get credit for.
Of the times, but we are people that should be proud of where we have come with what little we've been given, and that is what is scary to the white men that live in this country. That is what they fear. So what we've got to do is we've got to instill in our young people pride, and let the young people that don't have that mentality understand that, yes, this is what happened, but you don't have to go back there. You can be different.
And one of the things, Cousin, I think that we probably should pretty quickly wrap it up. But one of the things that I really want to say, and I want to say it because I said all politics is local, and I want to say this to Columbia. We talk about red states and blue states. Well, I just share with everybody that there in Missouri, there's 4 blue spots. Okay? And the blue spots are St. Louis, Kansas City, 2 in St. Louis, Kansas City, and Columbia. Are those 4 blue spots. And what does that mean when you say blue spot? We're talking about folks that liberal are looking out for all of the people. And so we are proud of Columbia, and we like to say that, Columbia. We are not perfect. We're not where we're going to be.
Right.
But we are proud of the cooperation that we get from working together with a number of groups. That will be identified, many of them on Saturday.
Right.
But we are going to be working toward making Columbia a place where that looks like what the United States ought to look like.
And it's already been voted some of the top places to live has been Columbia, because we are that blue dot. And we have to also say, we're not perfect, but we also have to say that the NAACP has played a major role in helping to establish that little blue dot. And we're proud of that. So we will talk about that, because we are proud of that.
Yes.
And that's just being foot soldiers.
Yes.
That's just standing on the promises, shoulder to shoulder. And so we just want you to know that you can make a difference. You can be that little blue dot, and we can have a lot of blue dots in a red place.
That's right.
And we can make change. So with that being said, we do have to wrap it up today. As we were saying, there's so much that we could be talking about, because right now it's chaotic.
Yes.
It is chaotic. So we're just saying to please keep your feet to the ground. Stand on your principles. Get out there and make some noise, because that's what we're going to do Saturday. We're going to make some noise. We also have our young people that are going to be involved. We want to make sure that they know that their voices are being heard. One of the top signs we have is, I'm not old enough to vote for me. And so we want individuals to vote for the candidates in these elections in your small towns that are going to make a difference, because that's where it started. If you vote for individuals that have a like mind of Trump, that's what you're going to get in your town. So we need to make a difference. So we want to ask all of you to please get involved in your areas and try to make change happen, because it's possible and we can make a difference.
And we want, and I cannot leave without saying again to Cory Booker, we are so proud.
So proud.
You have made us so proud of you, and that makes us really want to run on.
Puts fire under the feet.
And to see what the end is going to be.
Yes.
And it's up to us.
Yes.
And so we ask that God would give us the stamina that He gave you throughout those 25 hours, that we will be found doing everything that we can do to make our ancestors proud of us. Right. You know, I have a shirt that I wear that says, to my ancestors, I understand my assignment. And it's up to us. I understand my assignment. And we are going to work to try to carry out the assignment that you left for us, because you left a great legacy for us. Yes. And we don't want to let you down.
That's it. And we just would like to invite you all to please send us some comments. Let us know what you think about the show. If you have any topics or issues that that are of importance to you that you would like us to address, please do not hesitate to contact us at truthofthematterinone@gmail.com. That is truthofthematterinone@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. We hope and pray that you have a blessed day. And the truth of the matter is.